Hi everybody, it's Ryan G from Ryan G's Barbecue Stuff on the Barbecue Talk Show. Today I am flying solo. Matt's off due to work commitments, so it's just me at the moment. So, hi everyone. I should have probably shared it a little bit because it's only one person watching. Come on everyone, like and share, spread it around, spread the love would be great. I'm going to do it while I'm doing this. I'm going to edit it out in the podcast. I'm not slick as Matt. So tonight we're going to have a full word about our show supporters. Our show supporters are the Rusty Barbecue Company. They can bring you an exclusive 10% discount on all their products. Meter can provide a 15% worldwide discount on their products as well. Hi Kent, how you doing? We've got a new supporter, Glow Baltic Charcoal. They've teamed up with us to bring you 10% off their quality birchwood charcoal, plus a 10% discount from a new sponsor, Dusty Barn, who makes custom boards and shack signs. You can find all our details on the website. Please go check it out and save yourself a little bit of money. To help us, also, please do go check us out on the internet. Check out all of the podcast providers. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Leave a comment. It helps us grow on Apple. We're growing all the time, so it'd be fantastic for everyone to go and check us out and help us move along in the right direction. That'd be fantastic. So tonight our guests are Meat City Smokers. Matt and Nadine will tell us a little bit about how they got going and things like that. I'm going to call them up to the chat in a minute. Just wet the whistle. So if you can, please do share the screen to everywhere you can, because I'm a little bit busy. That's what I normally do. So share it everywhere, and we get this going. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome along to the Barbecue Talk Show. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you here. We're going to talk about Meat City Smokers, how you started up, and all of that sort of stuff. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Matt. This is Nadine. We're behind Meat City Smokers. Meat City Smokers came about around about a year ago, and but I've been fabricating for the last 20 years. So it came about me building smokers for myself and barbecues and little parts, and it became a busy hobby. And then we made a few parts for people, and then posted a couple of posts onto Facebook, and then it started the ball rolling. 1 year in, getting me busy hobby, just making for friends, family, etc. That then grew into maybe, we'll enjoy, because we're both creative people, so that would enjoy rewards of building smokers. So yeah, and then Nadine came on board with us not long ago, and that's how we got started. So then we turned it into an official business, and here we are. And it's a crazy world at the moment.
Yeah, bubbled up,
it's busy.
Making lovely looking smokers and fire baskets and things like that. All sorts of wonderful things you're manufacturing and getting out to the general public. From what I've seen, it looks fantastic gear. So go check out Meat City Smokers. Check out all the socials. Website, I presume, is coming. Is it? You're going to have one of those soon?
It is, yeah. And there's more than obviously me and Nadine. There's people behind the scenes, like I say, about quality products. You just said there. We do our own in-house design. We don't do our own laser cutting, but we've got a draftsman who, again, is not with us tonight. But that's like you say. Go check us out, and we're going to be more hopefully visible on social over the next few months coming. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That's exactly what you need to do. Get yourself out there and shine. Show everybody how good you are. Bang the drum. We'll certainly tell everyone. There's lots of people out there, lots of good people who give you good support. So that's what everybody needs to do. Watch tonight. Go tell everybody about Meat City Smokers and how good they are. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been cooking barbecue. Have you been cooking over what first started you off on this?
well, I have been cooking barbecue quite a while, and my family live out in Australia, and went out to see them, and I got into it through traditional cooking of when we went out to my uncle's, and like cooking pigs, wrapping them in hesse and putting them in the ground, with hot steel, and then covered them in soil, a traditional way, and then obviously a hungy, which is a traditional, like a barbecue way of cooking things. And then you lead into think, oh, well, the taste of the food which you get back from just trying different methods was what actually got me into barbecuing. And then it's amazing what you can achieve, isn't it, with just a different few techniques and how we generate food. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then that leads on to what more can you do? So you start looking around. Well, you then start to smoke food, and who doesn't love barbecue?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's very interesting. Who doesn't like meat? Who doesn't like social? Few beers. It's about friends, family, social, isn't it? About just having a giggle. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So we've got Cooking and Stephen and Jacqueline in here as well. Rob's Barbecue. Hi, thanks for joining in. It's nice to have you all guys along in the chat, helping out and keeping it. If you can share and over to other groups, that'd be good. Let's get some bums on seats, please. So with the what was your inspiration to sort of like how did you get the ball rolling there? What sort of like popped you into the barbecue manufacturing world?
Well, when after I'd come back from Australia, this is quite a while ago. I had then went to get myself a smoker, and then got quite into it. And then what the performance it was doing wasn't really what I was looking for what you've seen other people do. So then you start looking around how to fabricate and how to build them. So then, because I had an entry level smoker at the time, that got me started, but it didn't really get the results you was after. So that then led me on to make our own designs, I guess, just as a hobby back then. Things that work efficiently, because we all want to save fuel, don't we? Because obviously it's costing money in our pocket to buy the fuel, and that's what inspired us. Really, was just get something that works efficiently.
Yeah, our aim was sort of to make you only have to sort of invest once, then, don't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So
if you buy, that was my aim. That I'd gone through the entry smoker level. I was really enjoying it, and now I wanted more from my smoker, and that's what inspired us to think, well, what could we actually make? And well, let's try and build something a bit thicker, a bit more quality. And then I then bought a second-hand smoker, which was a little bit better. This was still when I was obviously before I started up Meat City Smokers, and then we started to understand how they need to work efficiently and what good airflow, good draw makes, what a difference it makes to your food. The thicker the steel that you can afford at the time, for me, the better the smokering. It's all relevant to actually in the labour of love we all put into the food and the meals. You want the end result, don't you? Which is that cracking smoking we're all after, but more than ever, good, tasty food. So I guess that's what inspired us, that we like smoking anyway. We just wanted something a little bit more than the entry level smoker which I had. So that's what inspired me to build smokers and get into it.
Okay, so you mentioned about balancing the airflow and all of that sort of good stuff. For the guys at home, could you explain sort of how you go about, especially in an offset? I don't really understand how you do it in an offset. I've got a fair idea how you do it with a drum, but how do you go about sort of doing that with your big offsets? And obviously, the thicker gauge still and the quality of your workmanship makes a big difference. But sort of like, if you sort of, how do you go about doing that?
A lot of it is to get good flow as well as also good product at the end or meal is obviously all about fire management. And if you can get good fire management to start with, excuse me, and obviously get good draw, which we generate or get our good draw through a decent oversized stack, or obviously a decent or higher stack, and then you're obviously going to pull it through the chamber. So you get, I guess, how that works. So if you get better fire management also in the smoking in the firebox itself, and you've got good draw, then obviously you can keep balanced temperatures because you've got the draw pulling the fire. Where in some cases that we've found in some other smokers which I've used is if you don't have the draw, you can't really get that airflow constantly moving heat and smoke obviously over the food. So a lot of it comes down to just making sure you've got all your entry dimensions correct from the firebox into the main chamber, but something that can draw it out, I guess. It's very similar to like a cooling power station, isn't it? Where you've got a big chimney and you're trying to get the steaming effect out of you. How do you get it there? Very much like the vortex. And I'm going off on it's all relevant. That obviously,
of course it is.
So more air comes in the bottom of a cooling tower, say, which obviously is that's in simple terms is from your firebox into your chamber. Narrow it down, which is a narrower stack, taller stack pulls it, and then that's how you generate good flow. And and good smokers, you can tell how well they work because if you open the firebox door, on our Jinx models, if you're lifting up top fire door, you can still cook over our open fire, but you can still see the stack drawing properly because it's pulling the flame still into the chamber. So how to get a good smoker to run properly is more about good draw and good fire management, to be fair, and building the fire properly in the firebox.
Right, that's all good information to know. Yeah, it's fantastic. So we're going to circle back round to the. So I know you as a drum builder, drum basket manufacturer, and all of that sort of stuff, and that you sort of touched on that.
Yeah.
Sort of sparked your business, if you like. So that how long would it take you to manufacture a typical drum and produce all of your bits and bobs? You get one out the door.
Yeah, because well, initially, when I first did my first drum, pretty much like everyone, you want to make that drum smoker for as cheap as possible. So we're all the same. You can do them cheaply, you can do them expensively. So once I built my first drum, how I wanted it to run was obviously work out different parts to make it more better engineered. So going forward, how long does it take me to make a drum? There's quite a bit of time it's taken us in the background to obviously design all our parts that fit the drum. But if going forward from once I've got all the parts sat in front of me, you probably put a drum together in a couple of hours, to be fair. Once you know where everything goes. But yeah, my first one was a bit of a challenge, like anyone, right? How am I going to get down there and put all the nuts and bolts in the bottom? Right, I've dropped that nut, and then you try and bend over the drum, fall in the drum. It was like it's just a giggle. So then you think, well, I'll tip the drum upside down, so you get inside the drum. Who's going to hold the bolt the other side? So it's quite actually good fun, isn't it, building drums? But
I love it.
The question is how long could I do it in? Probably a couple of hours.
A couple of hours. That's quite impressive, especially with all the sort of bells and whistles you stick on them to make them look so nice.
Yeah. Obviously, that's with fabricated parts in front of us, but it'd probably take Nadine. Let's say it takes how long it takes to make a set of intakes and wheels? Probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours to make all the parts from scratch. So if the actual build time once your parts in front of you, a couple of hours, but actual from scratch, blank piece of paper to the drum smoking, probably 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
That's still pretty impressive for welded parts and stuff like that. You know, that's pretty good going. Well,
I guess because we've got all the jigs made up in the workshop now, we don't really like everyone starts out. I'll just make this part, make that part, but because we wanted to steer it as a business, and obviously you make all your jig parts for you, so everything just slots onto a jig. So the research, I guess, the effort which we put into making the jigs initially is what speeds the time up in the end, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, it's you spend once.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing the same when we're building all the. Some people might have seen on social media when Nadine's making wheels or frames or subframes for the offsets. Exactly the same. Everything's now in a jig, so you might see him making wheels, or it's just the way it's easier for us rather than otherwise you're always making the one-off all the time, every time, which is why we learn a lot over the last year for sure. And it's just getting an idea. Does the idea work? Prove it works. Stick to it. Make the jigs, and then go with your models.
Yeah, it's maintaining a standard as well, isn't it? You can say this is made to that standard. I know it's going to work and be a reliable part for X amount of time. So that's exactly what I'd wanted to hear. Actually, fantastic.
Which is why we sort of like went with drums and also with offsets. Was we invested time in putting all into the drawings and parts because it just takes far too long to hand build everything. And you just can't get the quality. And yes, you can make the parts, but you can tell they're hand built rather than actually designed, if you know what I mean. Designed and put together. That's just the vision that we took on the drum. Equally, we put as much effort into drums what we do in the offsets. So yeah, it's just a way for us.
And we're sort of winding into sort of as we're talking about your offsets. I've seen you use quite big tubing and things like that for what sort of pipe is it? A pipe or is it an old sort of like gas bottle or container using or?
When I started out, I used gas bottles, like many people start, but they absolutely stink terrible when you cut them open. It's like, should I cut into it now? Should I not cut into it now? It's one of them, isn't it? Whereas is all the gas gone, purging it out with the water. So then what we realised was, again, I know drums are slightly different to offsets, but with offsets, it's all about trying to keep the heat retention, isn't it? Which is the energy which from the fuel into the main chamber. So to start with, I was using sheet rolled steel. So we would roll up the tube from sheet metal, and then I would start there. But then what happened was, you find when you're trying to work out how much that tube, pipe, chamber, smoker is losing heat, they used to lose quite a bit of heat through the steel. And the reason was because when we was buying sheets of steel that had been obviously recycled, let's say China, Turkey, wherever they come into the UK, you don't know what's gone back into that steel. Yeah. So within effect. Then we moved on to construction pipe, which is what we buy. So we buy what they use for piling in the North Sea and also the motorway bridges, because it's very high steel density. So why we can do any size smoker of any diameter is because we cut it from pipe. So I know we've got our standards now, but if someone wanted to have a smoker of a 16-inch diameter right up to, like you probably saw that big one I'm doing now, which is 3-foot diameter, full insulated firebox, 250 gallon into a smokehouse. So you can't achieve that heat retention the same with rolled recycled steel or from the plants around the world, but what pipe will hold, because obviously it's more dense, it's very brittle, it's hard to drill for the purpose it's used for, which is piling and also bridges. So that's why we then went away from using rolled sheet steel, because again, you come back to the initial, why do you want to smoke and what's the best way? It's all about keeping the heat in. And that's why we switched to pipe, and we never really looked back with pipe. And that is the way forward. So the thicknesses which we're using is in the 16-inch you can get 5 mil. In 20-inch we're doing a 5.5 mil and an 8 mil. The 8 mil is brilliant. And then we do a 610, which is 24-inch diameter, and I'm only doing that in 9 mil. There's quite a few people who's got our smokers now, and they're proving that it was the right decision to go to pipe. Yes, it's expensive, but we took the decision that if you're going to spend the money, then you may as well invest once. Now, I know we have got some expensive smokers, and yes, pipe is very expensive, but it's the results you get in the end, which is why we went to pipe. So that's why we use pipe.
It's almost an heirloom type product as well. You think that the thickness or the gauge of that material you're using, that's not going to disappear for a long time. That's going to sit around for a good few decades before it even sort of like thinks about sort of rotting through. So it's a good sort of tough, decent,
it is,
decent sort of material. You're only going to get a bit of surface rub it down, off you go again. It'll last decades.
Even the 5 mils are quite efficient.
Now, talking about big pipe, let's have a look. Let's see you springing up here.
And again, when I first started out, sorry, the internet might be dropping off. But when we first started out, we was.
Sorry.
That's the one where we've just done. That's 3-foot diameter, and that's got 2-inch insulation in there, and another 9 mil pipe in the middle. So it's about 7. But by the time that firebox is finished, it'll have about a 62 mil wall.
If ever I go missing, I'm hiding in that firebox.
Exactly, yeah. You know where to go looking. Blimey.
Did you see the video of her yesterday? I put some videos up yesterday, and she was in that cabinet smoker.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. To be perfectly honest, I've been very busy.
Yeah, the Dean jumped out.
Yeah. Tell us all about it. How you so?
When you said before about surface rust, that's how I originally started. Before I was just obviously spraying the smokers with obviously the black paint like many people use, but again, because we wanted to have a big lifespan of the smokers, people who invest in us, what we shot blast every single smoker which we build obviously back to good steel. They'll get the surface rust off, and then we're using high temperature powder coating, which the finish is far superior than what you can get with black paint.
And the last,
and I'm not saying that the black paint's the wrong thing, but for us going forward, it was better. One finish, one quality. Obviously, we shot blasting beforehand, and what was happening with the black paint was because we was having to hang all the smokers up, so you break all the smokers down. Obviously, then you got to vent all the fumes from the paint. Then we couldn't fabricate the next day because obviously you got to put all the smokers back together. Then you need the 3-day curing time. And from a business point of view, it just wasn't practical to use paint anymore. We had to find another way, and we're glad that we went onto the powder. Yes, it's very expensive, but it'll last a lifetime.
But then it sort of enforces again. You're getting another quality product it just sort of builds the quality of the item, doesn't it? You know, you're not getting a paint finish, you're getting a powder coat finish, and it's on decent material, so it will last. So yeah, it's a good thing. You might again.
Yeah, because some people message me sometimes and say they're having a problem with paint or what paint would we use, and it's coming off. And like I say, even if I was using black spray that you can buy, it's expensive. The stuff we were buying, 250 quid, I think, for a gallon of paint. And it's good stuff, but you've still got to keep constantly repairing it, if you know what I mean. I know people get covers, but with a powder, we've found that you don't have to do all that. It's just so more hard wearing. Yeah,
as well. That's sort of.
Yeah.
Go. No, you talk. Sure, it's all about you. You talk.
Which is going back to the drums and things as well. When you all do your external intakes or all the other parts, it's if you can powder coat them and you look after them, then it's going to be better long term, more expensive at the beginning, but lifespan lasts longer than aerosol can or whatever, don't they? But again, coming back to people would argue, well, as long as they're well protected and looked after, which is true, isn't it? We still last longer, don't they? If they're covered over, there's nothing wrong with spray paint.
No.
We just supposed to go that way, and I'm glad we went that way because now we can fabricate every day. Yeah. They go to a local firm which is just round the corner from us. They shot blast them, the powder coat them for us, and off they go. And because then they're straight out for delivery then. So and we're just getting our trailer all liveried up as well. So everyone who's watching, keep a look out for us on the motorway. That with Dad flying about, he'll have a big Meat City Smoker logo on. So everything gets delivered personally by us in box trailers, and keep a look out for him.
Oh, fantastic! You know that sounds really nice. I'll be looking out for you, mate. Get them around the Chilterns.
Yes.
That'd be really nice to see. So we touched on your offset smokers actually, and into your manufacturing, which is really cool because obviously you've got no downtime now. So effectively, you're working more efficiently and producing better items, which is a very, very professional way of working, especially within the barbecue industry. I'm not saying people that make stuff don't. I'm just saying sometimes some people work more efficient than others, you know. And it sounds like you're quite clued up.
It is very hard to make money right now. I mean, there's a lot of people making things, and like you said, we had to streamline somewhere to be able to make it more, going away from two people who were fabricating to more like design idea and then manufacturer, because it's totally different, isn't it? Hand building fabrication is totally different to where we're trying to steer it, which is more manufacturing, just keeping a track of what's happening with everything we're making because we're passionate about what we build. So so that's why we've got a lot more laser parts, a lot more folded parts, because we need to try and get back on top of our orders, which we're trying to get back on top of because there's
just quite a few.
we've turned to the manufacturing way of thinking rather than just two people fabricating. But it's really hit us, to be fair, how much support we've got and what orders came in from two people who had an idea and let's give it a go. It's just gone mad, which is good for us. It's just we didn't expect it to be that quick, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well,
again, I think a lot of it's coming from people who was tagging us everywhere, and there's a few catering companies got our smokers now, and Ethan Eats is great. He puts pictures everywhere, and we haven't. It's just the meat and the food that comes off everything, isn't it? Whatever it be, seems to have helped us and spoke for us rather than us trying to shout from the rooftops, I guess. And again, it comes down and commitment, to what we're going to do.
You need to bang your drum about your company again. As I said, you're producing decent quality products, and the more you can get it out there, the better. If we can help in any way, we will. Again, it's all one big it's sort of like barbecue family. It's everybody tries to help each other. That's the main thing.
See if we can work with you and run some sort of deal or monthly deal or some smoker pit idea, or we'll work something out. Yeah, we'll work something out.
Well, you're more than welcome to put something through our website if you want.
I will. We'll look into it. Give us a few weeks and we'll look into it and we'll do something.
So we've gone into materials, we've gone into your manufacturing, and sort of like, so we said about making a drum. How long is it for a big old beastie offset? What's your turnaround time on one of them?
Well, what do you mean lead time on smoking now, or building something from scratch?
Just building something from scratch.
Well,
let's have the full.
Yeah. We built one from scratch. So it took us around. We had about 30 hours in one, didn't we? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
From starting the saw up to getting there to, we said, right, we must time and see where we're actually at. It's okay thinking, right, we're doing okay, and it only takes us this long and that long. But when you're jumping from job to job, we said, right, let's time it. And we both worked together, and it was about 30 hours.
That's what's so rewarding, though, isn't it? Seeing it come from a
that's right. You still come in all the time, don't you? And you think, oh, actually getting somewhere now, because you go through weeks when you're starting something out or you're fabricating, you don't ever see anything happening. Then now we think, right, let's see if it all works together. So Nadine is putting all the frames together. She's building all the wheels. I'm sorting the doors out, cutting the fireboxes, and all of a sudden it's like, this is what all the hard work was about. And then you turn the smoker's done. And then our lead time at the minute for people who's ordering, I think we're about 8 to 10 weeks at the minute, just trying to get back on top.
Wow. That's it. So, well, to have that sort of waiting list means you're obviously doing something right. That's for sure.
It's mad. It's so the support has been fantastic, and we couldn't have asked for anything else, to be fair.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's always good to hear a company doing well, especially in these difficult times as well. There's a lot of people struggling, and like you're obviously switching it on and moving up.
I talked to a few smoker builders who did also do drums, but a few smoker builders who help us out quite a bit. I speak to Darren Croft a bit and Dave Gilbert, and people. Some people will give you hand, and you find that some people just won't. But again, the help that they give us is how you end up just picking at their experience as well, isn't it? And how you develop more and more and more.
Yeah, well,
every day, though,
exactly. Yeah, everyone makes a mistake every single day. It's normally Nadine on the sofa.
I knew that was
So, what I did actually want to talk about as well is we've got this little video here of you're doing a little bit of welding, Nadine. I've been told you're the best company welder. I'd like to know how this sort of come about, really. I'll just run this little video. Look at that! Look, you see the smoker box you're working on there by the looks of things, is it?
Firebox. That was
Firebox.
That was job.
Awesome stuff.
I was actually hairdressing before lockdown, and then into lockdown, and Matt was getting so busy, and I sort of said, "Oh, do you want a hand?" Thinking, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to be any help." But then I was, and I love it. It's just the like seeing it come in as a pipe and then go, it's like, wow, you actually did that. You know, it's actually really rewarding. And then seeing what people cook on it, that's,
Yeah, because the Nadine's got quite an artistic and creative side to her, and a mint sketcher and cartoon drawer. So I guess what Nadine likes and gets out of it is, I know we're hand building things, but we're still creating out. So it's a creativity side. So then Nadine helped me while lockdown was on, thinking, oh, she's going to go back to work, and
stuck with me now. I'm not going anywhere.
So she came home one night and said, oh, I've decided, I've given my notice at the hairdresser, we're going to make this business work, because I know you're struggling on your own, you need more staff. So that was it. So I spent 4 hours with Nadine one Saturday morning. I got her to try not to teach her my bad habits that you correct over the years, don't you? And the first word that she laid down, thought, she's definitely the person I'm after, and never back. Now, I guess it's good because she had no bad habits. But yeah, people who are now ordering smokers seem to want Nadine to weld them to. So I'm just going to be surplus for long.
You'd be the polisher and
someone's going to poach you out there and start building UK smokers.
I reckon you'll be right. I reckon.
Question it when I get the mic taken out on me 24/7.
Yeah. But if there's no banter in the workshop, you got nothing, have you?
Nothing.
Exactly right. That's what good workshops run on. That's what they should run on. So again, I'm so impressed with the welds you've done. I've seen a few pictures and examples of your work, etc. It's fantastic for the amount of time you've been doing it. You should be really proud of yourself, because welding is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
No, there's me 20 years welder. Yeah. Nadine's been at it with me strongly for the last 6 months, and just puts me in fact, to be fair, I reckon she could walk into many, and I'll probably get slated for this, but probably walk into many fabrication shops and give anyone a run for the money. And it just amazes me every day what she turns out. And I just stand in amazement, and I put my welding mask on and I watch her. And I just don't know what she does, but apart from she welds the wrong way around, that's all I can put it. Yeah.
I like to be different, It's boring, right?
I think, I suppose the only thing I suppose being a trained hairdresser, you must have really good multineural skills. So it must be you're so precisely moving things and cutting stuff. Not that I know much about hairdressing, but when you're cutting or when you're welding, you're sort of like flowing it along, aren't you? That's what you're doing to get a good weld. It's got to look nice, and the weld's got to flow, and that's what it does, and what I've seen on yours. So it must carry over.
Just tell you how better she is at hairdressing. When I came tonight, I said, could you cut my hair? I had loads of hair in. Now look at it, it's all gone.
Yeah, right.
She weren't attacking you with a welding torch, was she?
But people also as well who are getting behind Nadine text me personally that obviously Nadine doesn't always see the messages which I get, And what they were saying was it's so refreshing and rewarding to see someone young, because Nadine's only 20 years old, just getting behind a job, and which is most of the time male dominated, isn't it? And giving it a go. So I'm looking forward to getting out to some of these shows this year, and obviously COVID with the letters, and taking some of our products around the country, people see them and people to meet us, and I can't wait.
You got to get your products out there and promote them. Like as I said, quality gear, and that will speak volumes when it's out in the field. People will be able to look at it, pick it up, and feel it, and physically. Yeah,
pictures don't always do justice. No. You know what I mean? Like we customers who've had our smokers know we're building good stuff, but it's the expression you get when you turn up with something that's built well, painted well. They open the back door of our trailer, empty, unload it. That's the reward that we're all after.
Well, one guy actually was to build something, and he said, he wasn't sure what he wanted. He just wanted a wow, didn't he? That's all he gave us.
He rang up and he said, I wanted to build an offset, and all I want is a wow. There's nothing else. That's all I want. We definitely wowed him, but it's difficult when you're building a smoke and that's the only brief you get. Just wow me
nice
when you turn up.
Yeah, definitely. To be able to work your way through that. Oh, this is difficult. Normally, I've got someone covering me while I'm pouring a beer. Now I'm trying to talk and pour a beer at the same time. It's like you said. You said men can't multitask. I'm talking and pouring a drink.
I'll send you a mountain bike camelback down, Ryan, so you can just fill it up with a drink when you're on your own and just keep. Yeah, that'll all.
I was going to go for the old Homer Simpson hat with the 2 beers on either side and the straws, but I thought, not sure quite if that'd be the thing. It might be for the future. Camelback might be a good idea, or just a big old thing of beer up there.
Yeah,
might do the job. So we're going to move it around a little bit now. So what's the most sort of exotic meat or food you've ever eaten? We'll start off with Nadine. What have you ever eaten anything strange?
Go on, Nadine. She like chicken nugget. Yes, she's not very food adventurous.
You best go to Matt for that one.
Yeah.
No, I'm expecting 2 answers, so go.
You like cheek though, don't you?
Cheek.
Yeah, you like
beef
cheeks, don't you? That's the problem is that's what it gets for Nadine.
Sorry about that. I'm going to try though. When we're going to our shows and stuff, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. I eat all sorts of meat, but like any men will, well, if it's put in front of you, normally eat it. Which is why I've got to size.
I can honestly say the most exotic meat we've had so far from that question, Scott from Angus and Oink, he ate some, I think it was cow udder. I can't remember the exact name of it, but he said he's eating cow's udders. And that sounded, the way he described it sounded delicious. He said it tasted like brisket burnt ends.
Yeah.
But, we had another, Olav from Norway, he eats whale. So that's like the all out.
Yeah, maybe
exotic meat so far.
maybe have a monthly thing where people post up what the most exotic thing they do, or do it live where you just flick around people and see what they're eating. But my God, did you say udder? That wouldn't sound great. It's like my dad loves tripe. My God, it just looks awful, doesn't it? But that's that generation who just love that stuff. Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they eat anything, so nose to tail. That's what some people do.
I think I've really done a lot of exotic things, like say I was out in Australia, had a bit of snake there, had croc, kangaroo as you do, but that's not really exotic, is it? Not like weird stuff.
No, it's better.
It is for London and Yorkshire.
Yeah. I guess I had the snails and the frogs legs like everyone does when they go to France, but the experience that I'll try it. Just a chicken wing out and an old frog leg, that's all it is.
Yeah. It's
psychological, chicken, isn't it? Psychological what you think it is rather than what it actually tastes like.
When you actually stop and think about why does everything taste like chicken, you got to think that chicken must be fairly exotic, because everything really weird tastes like chicken.
Oh, you grow children up, innit? Everything tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
So we've got if there's any questions coming in from the chat, let's have a look. No, nothing as yet, but I'm sure there will be, hopefully. If you got any questions about building smokers, please put them up and we get some questions in. That'd be really cool. So you touched on about cooking out in Australia or not. How long were you out in Australia then at the time?
What was I doing out there?
Yeah, well, how long were you out there for?
I went out for 4 weeks. My family lived out there, and so it was my uncle's 60th birthday, and so how we got out there was when the £10 passport was out, you're going around, So he was a builder over in Leeds and wanted to do something different because we're up in York, up in North Yorkshire. So anyway, he would go out just for a couple of years at this time, and then never came back to England. So it was his 60th party. So anyway, he said he invites us all over. So no one had been over for 30 years, nearly over to Australia. So we go over to Australia, and a hell of a flight is getting out there. So we're walking over the maybe we shouldn't say so. We're walking over the airline car park out the airport, and I know my cousin was he went and in the outback and lived with some of the tribes because that was the sort of like guy he was. So we're walking over the car park, and at the time I had my wife with me, and my wife. And so we're walking over the car park, and in the distance is this pickup with blood on the bonnet. Yeah, so I'm thinking, I hope that's not his car, not his car. Yeah. So anyway, they've been chasing this because they hunt kangaroo out there, don't they? So he goes out for his party, and then we're over there, and they got invited to this friend's house, and that's when they started doing the traditional hog in the floor. If you see it done where you dig a hole, don't you, traditional way. So you dig a hole, set fires to steel, you wrap the pig in hessian, don't you? Then you put it back in the ground, you cover it with soil, and then the heat from the steel warms the pig, and you take it out about 8-9 hours later. And that's what it was. And that's how I ended up being out there. I went out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, and traveled Australia. And when we was out there, it's weird because you get this vision about Australia, what it's going to be like. But so everyone said, like, how do I get to here? So when I was borrowing my uncle's pickup, I'll just drive 4 hours and turn left. 4 hours and turn left. But that's what it's like. And I don't know if you've been out there, but that's what it's like. You follow that road, 4 hours, you turn left. Oh, there it is. Yes, that's what I was doing out in Australia. I went out for my uncle's 60th.
Oh, wow, that's really nice.
When was that? 2010.
Oh, right. Yeah, Australia is a beautiful country. I spent a bit of time out there. I love it. I'd go back tomorrow if I could.
Yeah, the Perth. It was a place called Ginginup, which is about 2 hours north of Perth. Was where we were.
Okay, so yeah, I just went up the east coast, up Sydney, Brisbane, Noosa, and then up to Ellie Beach, and then sort of like around the Northern Territory a little bit, and then back home. But yeah, it was fantastic times, good times. Really good times, in fact. I can't remember much of it, but for what I can remember, it was good.
Well, hopefully this year or maybe next year. I really want to go. Have you been out to America? I want to go travel America and see what. Have you been across there at all?
No, I haven't yet, but hopefully soon I'll be popping across. Maybe again COVID, but yeah, I'd definitely be heading over there sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a guy just coming over from Texas actually, who's we're building another big catering smoker, which is going down to East London in the next 2 or 3 months actually. And when he goes back home, he's got quite a few people in Texas, obviously his friends. He's going to start a smokehouse in East London. Anyway, he's invited to. We'd invited if we'd like to go back over to Texas when he goes over, and he goes shows some of the good spots and how a proper Texas style barbecue is. So I think I'm going to take him up on his offer. You don't get offered things like that, do you, very often? And especially when you can local, you understand it, and you actually go to. It's like when you're tourist, aren't you? If you go to tourist areas, but if you can get a local, you see the best of the country, don't you? Wherever you go.
Yeah.
So he offered us that. I mean, we're getting offered quite a few things in a minute, but I think that's the one thing me and Dean are going to do. We're going to go out to Texas and see exactly how it rolls and what it's like, and proper Texas smoking and barbecue food. And I think we deserve a holiday by the end of the year or next year. To be fair.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. We just had a question come in from the chat from Julie. Jules, she said, "Are you familiar with a pit builder called Ryan Newland? I think he operates out of Texas, doesn't he? He's a Texas pit builder."
Am I familiar with Ryan Newland? No, I've not heard of Ryan Newland.
Backline Smokers is his company's called. In fact, that's why it rings a bell. There's some guys we're friendly with who runs a podcast, Pit Life Barbecue podcast. Greg Dialio, he's just brought a big backline smoker, and I think another guy on the show may or may not be getting one as well, depending. But John might be one.
What was that name again? Remind me. What
Backline Smoker.
Backline
Smokers. Yeah. Pop it up. They build some pretty serious gear. It's not, to be honest, it's not a million miles away from what you're doing. All of his pits are pretty big.
Yeah, we like to see that stuff. Backline Smokers. Yeah. Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, they do some good stuff.
There's quite a lot of people are in there now. What we found is the inquiries we've had this week was more for the bigger catering smokers, because it seems to be people, the British are now really getting behind the smoking, aren't they? It's catching up quite a lot, and people are seeing opportunity now. I think there's a lot of smokehouses opening, isn't there? And that's how that guy obviously contacted us down in London. And it's good to see, isn't it, that I know we've had Indian, Chinese, we've had lots of things, haven't we, over the years and years. It's good just to get something different, something new, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I guess, could I take a punt on who maybe tapped you up for an order, or would you not like to talk about that yet? Would it?
What's this for?
What was
London?
Yeah, what was it? If I was to say Longhorn barbecue, would that sound right?
No.
Long barbecue. No.
Oh,
So if you're
okay.
watching Long Arm Barbecue, you want one, give us a shout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them a shout.
He's just arrived from Texas. He's only been in London, I think. I won't shout his name out in case he doesn't want, but
Don't.
It's not him. Anyway, he's just arrived from Texas. He came over to England in, I think, last December, did he say? Went into England and knew what he wanted to do, opened a big smokehouse restaurant, did his research, found that there is a market for where he wants to place it, and he's just arrived, I think, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what happened, how he bumped across us was, he was looking for smokers but couldn't find someone in England who wanted to do something how we wanted it done, rather than, I know there's other brands in England at the moment, but you only get what you get with that brand. You don't get, well, actually, I just want it a bit like this, a bit of a firebox there, the door the opposite way, which I think what we do, we don't, yes, we do have standard product, but we can change it around for their personal requirements. Anyway, luck would have it that we'd put the 250 gallon one, I think, at the time, or whatever we were doing on Instagram, and he just clocked us at that time, contacted us. And so it went on to an order, and that will be down in East London shortly. But it wasn't barbecues. But anyway, he was quite good because he rang and I was talking to him on the phone for maybe a good hour or so. And it's amazing what experiencing and advice you get off the people who actually come from Texas and smoke. You know what I mean? And say that that's exactly what I'm looking for. So we know we're on the right page, and it's nice to hear that back, if you know what I mean. It's just good to
it's massive kudos for you as well, you know, potentially having a smoker running in a restaurant in London run by Texans, producing Texas brisket, etc. What a gift, you know. It's a perfect marketing tool in that respect.
Well, better than Yorkshire accent.
Oh, is that why we were chatting up on the phone? So I was doing all work.
So the 250 gallon, again, that's going to the smokehouse in Blackburn. I don't know if you saw the video, but yeah, that is huge, that thing. But we like building big smokers as well. It's just a challenge, isn't it? I think we both thrive on challenge and creativity rather than just we'll just do this, we'll do that. Well, that would do, it would do, but how could we make it better? And I think that's what we're both about.
It's such a lovely thing to hear. You know, you're obviously really passionate about what you're doing, and you're striving to improve your product constantly. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's a breath of fresh air for the barbecue industry in the UK, and also pit manufacturers over here. And if you're getting into restaurants as well, so it's sort of like a upward spiral for you guys. I think the sky's the limit. You know,
if Chris was here, it was all like. We come up with ideas, we then pass it to Chris, he changes them into AutoCAD format, and then they obviously into a laser form. He doesn't really like us having new ideas, because once that drawing is taking about 20 hours for that drawing, and you got to rechange them all. But that's how we keep developing, isn't it? I don't see that difficult side of how long it takes to draw. I just got the idea in my head. Well, let's try this. Let's try that. Well, that'll make it better. But yeah, a lot of effort goes into drawing.
Matt can't even draw a stick man, so he has to relate to me, then relate to Chris.
I've got no artistic draw. I can't draw a stick man. I can't draw at all. But and that's why when I make things, I just make them straight off my vision, rather than it's difficult for me sometimes, because I know what I want to build, but I can't sketch it to show someone. So I have to build it to show someone. So by the time I build it, it's too late by then. When Nadine can sketch anything, very artistic. But I don't, because I don't put things that clearly across.
This is what he says all the time. Imagine this.
Yeah, imagine this.
I'm like, brilliant. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Imagine this piece of steel, but it's not straight; it's bent now.
Yeah.
Just imagine that, and then add a piece on the end. Yeah. Drive them all up.
Yeah.
Imagine it was 6 inches long and then you chopped a bit off, but it ended up that sort of size. Yeah, I can imagine. I work the same, you know. It's always sort of constantly tinkering with bits and bobs, trying to get it sort of almost fettling it to how you like it, rather than measuring it and precisely what you want.
That's it. I think we just critique ourselves too much, because we know we make good things, but then I don't know what you're like, but you make something, you seem to pull your own things to bits. I don't know why we do it. But it's like, oh, yeah, but this and that could be better, but
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said,
No.
what we build, we're just in that build, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, you sort of get sucked into the detail, don't you? That's what makes it so good, because you're constantly looking at what you have done and how you can improve it, rather than stepping back and thinking, "Oh, that's actually pretty decent." You're looking at that bend or that crease was slightly out, or
Good name, Jimmy Q.
Jimmy. Yeah, guy. In fact, he's over in one of our American friends. In fact, most of the chat's actually from America, except Steve and Tom. I think was in. Yeah, everyone from the US is in today. I think most of them. Yeah, which is nice.
What time is it in the US now? I don't even know what time it is there. I don't even know what time it is now. What time is it?
What are we? 9:30. It'd be about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the UK now. Or 25.
There's some good stuff out in America, isn't there? There's some fantastic builds. They inspire us all the time. Some of these proper big pit master builders.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they knock out.
Well, one of the guys in here earlier, Kent, he built a massive pit. He's a barbecue. He cooks in competition barbecue and stuff like that, and he made his own pit. It's fantastic. It's a beast of a thing. It was that was an old sort of gas container, I think. Huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, I mean, going back to competition, that one we built for Mr. Pinky's, was it? Mr. Pinky's Owens. I think he's going to go competing with that smoke that we built him last year, that reverse flow, because he's got American background in the family. I think originally he came from America, or that's what he does.
Your pickles is, but you can cook on the shoddiest of cookers, but it's nice to cook on a good one. That's a true story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like you go out, you can put a burger on a barbecue, can't you? You can put a burger on it's the same thing, isn't it? There's nothing. It doesn't have to be flash to create good food, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to where we all came from, isn't it? Man cooking over fire.
Yeah, exactly right. Without fire, there'd be nothing. No barbecues or anything.
I think people like about smokers, don't they? It's more of a challenge, isn't it? How will it come out? Have we got it right? And it's that hunter-gathering is, isn't it? That we're going to get it right and we're going to cook over fire and look what we've result. I think it's more of a challenge, isn't it? And when you get it right on smokers and you get the
it's rewarding, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think that's what keeps everyone going, isn't it? You're just chasing that better.
Well, it's the variables.
I wish I left it 10 more minutes. I wish this, I wish that, and then stick another 12 hours. Yeah, another 12 hours.
We like seeing the pictures of like the smoke ring, don't we? Off our smokers. That's always nice. What they've made.
Yeah, it's good to see that because we're getting bogged down in fabrication all the time, but we know that they work because obviously we test them. Mm-hmm. But it's good when you see the food pictures back and how it's a smile and it's a barbecue. Like today, one we had today, someone wanted for 40th birthday. So midnight last night, obviously, my dad set off for where did he go? Dorset first, pool, then delivery down to Eastbourne after that. And it's just nice to surprise and someone's got one of our kits for the 40th birthday, and then you can't wait to see the food comes off it. But it's the reward that we get back from it that now going to give a family a decent evening tonight, innit? Cooking, like Nadine said, it's just good to get feedback, and it's brilliant. What are your thoughts on competition cooking? Is it certain respect? What's your thoughts on
no, that was the question from Charlie. What are your thoughts on competition cooking? As it seems silly since you wouldn't eat the full meal of it. My thoughts are it's a competition. Everything's amped up to crazy flavors. I don't think you could eat any more than a couple of mouthfuls because it's just packed with stuff, so much flavor, so intense. It'd probably make you feel poorly if you try to eat a whole competition brisket or a whole sort of even a steak cook-off. Steak, the amount of stuff they pile in it nowadays, it's sort of so much flavor laid on there.
Yeah, Dutchy Cook there asking if we've ever built a gravity-fed smoker. We do get asked to build gravity-fed smokers, but because just right now trying to develop one because we're just so bogged down, I guess, with our offsets and reverse flow and drum orders. We haven't, but we do get asked, and we were considering. I guess you was thinking like gravity fed charcoal or smoke. I'm imagining rather than obviously pellet fed, because you just get electric one, or But yeah, we are in. Well, get through this year, and then we are going to look at gravity fed. Yeah.
That gravity fed, the gravity fed smokers definitely seems to be a big thing at the moment. They're more they have been more competition cooks, but now they've been.
I think.
Sorry, we missed that. Your audio's gone. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I guess. I guess with the charcoal gravity fed smokes, it was going to probably develop was you still want to have that charcoal type wood flavored type run of smoker, but it gives you that opportunity just to nip out or just nip here or just nip there, doesn't it? Because we all know that when you're using wood fire, because most of ours just run on just wood only, the offsets anyway, and the reverse flows. Because if you want to pop out, who's going to maintain the fire, isn't it? And I think that's why people are liking the gravity fed stuff, because you can still do that long cut, can't you? But if you've got to just pop here or pop there, you don't really have to do anything. Where if you haven't got someone to manage the fire or keep on top of it, it's part of the. I'd say it's part of why people maybe get gravity fed. But yeah, we just like right now we're just concentrating on just our wood fires, wood fire offsets and drums and
stuff. So we got a question here from Big Hoops Barbecue Charlie over from America. Do you sell more standard flow or reverse flow offsets?
Really?
Yeah, we do sell more offsets than we have reverse flows, but people this week I think we've made maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They've all been reverse flows. But again, going forward from because people are investing in our smokers, which are quite a big investment, we're making them so. And again, it can be controversial with some people, but we're making them where you can do both types of smoking. Obviously, I know it's just the stack positions and the way that they sort of run to have them an offset's different stack position to where you would have reverse flow. So what we're doing is we're just making the chimneys interchangeable from end to end, and then obviously the blanking plate over, and then switch to reverse flow plates. So yeah, but the original question, I would say we're doing more offsets than what we are reverse flows.
It's just got a follow-up question there as well. What do you think of the advantages of each? So reverse and standard flow for smoking.
Reverse flow is definitely more efficient than what offset would run at. Because obviously we know how most people, that's not meant to be patronising, but how reverse flow works is obviously that the energies from the firebox pass underneath the reverse flow plates, don't they? So you've got all that storage of heat energy in the reverse flow plates already, which is obviously trying to rise, but it's forced underneath the baffle. So you get a lot better chamber temperature management from a reverse flow, because it's more efficient, because it's storing the heat, what it's passing through, I guess. So they are wood efficient. They are more wood. Yeah, the less wood to run a reverse flow than what an offset are. But some people are just stuck on offset and reverse flows wrong, and same as some people are just all for reverse flow and offsets the way around. So anyway, so with our product now, we're just making it where you invest in us, and you can just do whichever you want to do. Switching, just chimney positions are different. So because we think like. We try to build, or I do, and Nadine included, I guess, where how would I want my smoke to be if I buy? So when I'm a customer buying something, same as everyone, you want the maximum you can get for the minimum money you can get away with, don't you? So I'm no different when I'm trying to buy something, which is what led us on to do the make one smoker run of 2. Because let's say you get an 8mm smoker off us of a 1200 chamber or something like that, and you're paying us a couple of £1,000 for it, and you get an offset, but you don't want to reverse flow. So if you want to try reverse flow in the future, what do? Do you go try an entry level or smoker, or do you then reinvest another couple of £1,000 to get a reverse flow to try it. With a difference of maybe £100 when we're building it, it's already set up to do both. So in the future, you don't have to reinvest in such a big investment just to reverse flow, because you've already got it from the outset, which is why we're doing that.
It's a fantastic idea, I must admit. I'm very impressed with that. Very innovative. You know, there we go. We got Charlie's on fire. Aside from the chimney, excuse me, aside from the chimney, for the switch between, is there any changes to the baffle?
Yeah.
No.
Well, the baffle is a different baffle on a reverse flow than what you would have, say, tuning plates or an offset baffle. An offset baffle, what we do is it comes just above where the entry comes from the firebox into the chamber, and then it's got obviously venting holes to even the temperature out in the chamber. So you wouldn't use an offset baffle when you reverse flow smoking, because you need to as we all know, the chimney's at the same end of the firebox, so you need to transfer that heat right to the opposite end of the chamber, because obviously a reverse flow cooks from the bottom to the top, doesn't it, where an offset energy from the fire rises into the chamber, right to the top of the chamber, and then you cook from the top down. So the two different baffles, you wouldn't run, or you couldn't. Well, you could, but it wouldn't work efficiently. You couldn't use an offset chamber temperature baffle to balance it out to reverse flow, because it's got the holes in. You must pass all the energy from the fire right to the opposite end of the chamber. So the original question was between the baffles. Yeah, you have two sets of different baffles to run offset or
Yeah, it's such a cool idea. It really is a very good idea. I think you're going to be on the money.
I'm not sure if our internet's in and out or what's happening.
Yeah, it's sort of like starting to drop off a little bit, to be honest. But
because again, even down to the I guess our entry smoker, which is still a 16-inch diameter, which is a 1,000 long barrel. It's a real good small family backyard smoker. But again, just because it's our entry level, I guess we still give the same amount of detail to the entry level smoke of our range, right up to the top end stuff. So you still get the interchangeable from reverse flow to offset. What you don't get is what we don't really get much in all our smokes, is it is set up to reverse flow if you bought an offset offers, but you won't have the baffle plates in the smoker. Yeah. So going forward, if you wanted to try to reverse flow, because you just interchange the chimneys and take the blanking plate off one end, put it on the other end, actually to upgrade to try reverse flow would actually only cost you about £100 for all the baffle plates, rather than, like I just said it a few minutes ago, actually reinvesting in an actual reverse flow smoker. So every smoker, whether it's our starter one or whether it's top end restaurant, still all work, or the option in the future to work the same.
So you've effectively future proof.
That's the vision we took. You invest once in us. Why not be able to do everything on it?
Yeah. Nice heavy gauge steel, and then with the option of switching it around in the future if you wish. I tell you what, that's a fantastic idea in my opinion. That is a very, very strong case for marketing. I would push that.
Pickles Barbecue, they're a good explanation. I always try to explain myself very well in the workshop, so I'm glad that you've just backed me up there.
I'm tapping on it, yeah. It's I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with that. That's a fantastic idea, and you should be pushing that as you're selling them. That's a strong.
Yeah, we will as we get a little bit bigger and a little bit more visibility, I guess, and more people use our stuff. Then that's when it does speak for themselves, and we'll look at more of a marketing. Where do we push them? Where do we not push them? And without pushing them onto people, what we're trying to get across is we're trying to build, like I originally said in the conversation, we're trying to build how I would buy them. So you will get everything you possibly want to get in one smoker because you've invested in us, invest back in you, and that's our ethos, how we want to work. So yeah, just get the max. You get maximum from our smokers.
It's a great.
I'm all right. Yeah, have a cup of tea. Yeah, no sugar, thanks. One sugar, please. This is what we like, isn't it? Friday night, talking on the TV. We're not on the TV, but you know what I mean. And then getting a cup of tea brought to you. Does it?
Oh, here he goes.
It's fantastic. I think it's great. Brilliant interview. Highly informative. I'm very, very impressed with one, your business ethic, and two, your sort of standard of build of what you're achieving. I almost feel bad now that I've got to pull it down into the hot fire Q round in a minute. You sort of give us a really good sort of technical explanation into how you're building your smokers and how you're planning to sort of like expand and stuff. I'm going to bring down and ask you a load of silly questions in a minute. But before we do that, we've covered the exotic meats. The interview is just sort of like hitting an hour now, so we're going to start winding it down a little bit for the podcast. You're more than welcome to stay on after the podcast is finished, just for a chat, and so see if anyone wants to jump in from the chat and have a actually face-to-face discussion and ask you more questions. If you wish to, you're more than welcome to stay. So I'm going to ask you a question now. I always ask is about music. So first off, Matt, what's your top 3 favorite albums of all time, or music you like to listen to? Or
I'm not really music. This is me because I'm not really into music, but I like that song on the radio, but I couldn't tell you who sung it. But whoever to see, I like the Killers, like Snow Patrol, like Coldplay, been to see Status Quo. Just a random bit of music. But would I? I'm a music person that follow music. No, not really. Just So I'm just not that type of person, I guess. But
you don't have time. You don't have time.
You don't have time. How about you, Ryan? What's your music?
My music, I like everything really. Yeah, a bit of rock. Sort of like back in the day, Nirvana. I used to go to loads of sort of house music raves and things like that when I was really young. That's a lifetime ago now. But yeah, mainly rock, or sort of Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters, a little bit of Metallica. All that sort of era, you know. And the band called, the first gig was a band called Ned's Atomic Dustbin. They were sort of like a Birmingham band. No, I thought I was really cool going along to that when I was 14. And stayed around my uncle's house, drunk like loads of K-cider, staggered back, and they go to school in the morning.
We're just glad our area, there wasn't telephones and video cameras to see what was up to.
Oh, good God, you're right.
It's weird, isn't it, now? I think they're the best one.
Oh, we just sort of like had the technology, but no one knew how to use it. I think that's the best way to describe it. I was going to ask Nadine, but she's
disappeared. She's not going to run off. She's just gone to lay girls' room. I think she's back in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's more modern, so she's going to be into all these music. She's probably going to say Ed Sheeran, didn't she? James Arthur, I'm guessing. Who else would she like? She goes to quite a few concerts, so yeah.
I started going to a load of like cover band concerts before lockdown. I also went to see there was a Smiths cover band.
Yes.
Who else did I go and see? Chaz and Dave before, obviously Dave died. That was quite good fun.
Yeah, they were funny.
Yeah, just loads of cover bands really. They were quite cool. I'm looking forward to doing that once the venues open up again, because you go see band, and I saw Pearl Jam cover band. That was really good. A load of beer with mate George and come home stumbling. Yeah, miss that bit. It'd be nice to just get out and do stuff again. I'm sure you feel the
same. She's back.
Sorry.
Right.
What did I miss?
Music.
Yeah.
What
we were just, yeah.
You'd say it's rubbish.
Not really. No, nothing's rubbish.
James Arthur, Dave, I don't know, anyone really.
You've been to a few concerts, haven't you, with friends?
Yeah, only small ones.
Yeah.
Dave was really good. He was on the Brit Awards last year.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah. That was quality. That Brit Award was this. I'm just Dave. You know, he comes on, doesn't he? He's quite a big, well-known. Just I'm just Dave. No, cool as hell, wasn't he? I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, it's, so Dave and all right, that's cool. I'm not really down with the kids, but I'm sure my children know exactly what you're talking about.
Ryan, but I'm not.
Yeah, I can't even. I'd like to pretend to know who they are, but I don't. Not like I get in the car and play all old-fashioned music. That's what. Why don't you put the radio on? Your music's rubbish. I was like, oh, thanks, but it's the 90s.
I'm a Radio 2 listener. Me, very informative, but no, I've got to be punished with capital all day long because it's modern.
Oh, Viking FM.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to move into the hot fire Q's questions now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you. What do you want to take? Do you want to ask each question? Like, go for a set of questions on your own, or do you want to sort of flip flop between you? How do you want to do this?
Flip flop. We like a flip flop.
Okay, so who's going to start then?
What we doing now? What we doing? Remind what we're doing. Sorry, I thought you was going to ask us questions. You are.
Yeah. Okay. Right, Matt. Ladies first, Nadine. So you go first on our quick fire question round. So this is a barbecue related question. So hot and fast or low and slow? Just say anything.
Low and slow, Nadine.
Yeah, low and slow.
Low and slow. Matt, day or night?
Day or night, definitely night.
Nadine, beer or spirit?
Spirit, tequila.
Good girl. So Matt, lump or brisket?
Brisket.
Briquette, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm going to go lump.
Lump, okay.
Ooh.
So, pork or beef? Nadine?
Beef.
Definitely beef.
Definitely beef.
Matt, ribs wet or dry?
I got to have a wet rib. Who likes a dry rib?
Oh, I actually quite do. I like a dry rib, a nice sort of salt and pepper finish. So, Nadine, shrimp or meat?
Meat.
Yeah, she won't go on there fish.
No. Matt, wrap or let it ride?
Wrap.
Okay. Nadine, burgers or hot dog?
Burgers or hot dog?
Hot dog.
Hot dog, okay. This is in fact, you need to add to one of these in a minute. So this is from Olaf from Norway, one of his questions. What we're doing now, we're getting people to add questions to this hot and fast round to make it longer, to basically make it easier for me and Matt so we don't have to think of questions anymore. So he's got horse, as in, would you eat it, yay or nay?
Very good.
Yay.
Yeah, really?
Nice,
I probably did eat it because it was in Tesco for a while.
Nice one, actually. But
oh, was it?
Maybe shouldn't say something. However, it's probably the leanest burger you'd ever have.
Yeah, it was nice, actually.
Yeah. I think I'd eat no qualms of eating horse. I'd give it a go, even though you're not supposed to in this country. But as you say, a certain supermarket done all right on it for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah, for best help. We'll talk about it.
But every little helps. But yeah. So all I can say to you two is thank you so much for coming on to the show and talking about your wonderful smokers and awesome products. So what we need to do now is get you two to tell us everything, where we can find you, bang the drum, tell us all about your social medias and how we can pick you up and find you.
Yeah.
So Instagram is quite a good one. Facebook, and we are going to start TikTok as well. We're going to do like videos. So from how we get, our pipe in, and then bounce on to how it finishes.
Like a time hop, yeah. So
hop.
Maybe just help other fabricators or DIY people or something like that. So
we'll make a few of them this week.
And then so first, if you want to give it out. So Instagram is at Meat City Smokers on there. You find us on the Facebook. You find myself, follow Matt Lee, but we're going to go away from that and then just more business related page. And then anyone who's interested in any of our products or looking for a decent, quality build, people say we are more bespoke. I see it as we are setting a quality standard. I don't see it really as bespoke. The best way to contact us, more traceable, because my inbox gets full all the time in Messenger. It's sometimes hard to track it. Is if you do all lowercase, is email Alec, ALEC, at meatcitysmokers.co.uk, and someone in the team will pick it up from there. And that's the best way to get a reply from us in some ways, because it's not easy replying to Messenger because it just gets lost. So that's the best way to find us, or send us messages on Instagram. That's also quite good. And again, yes, I know we're trying to sell smokers and push our brand, but we're also approachable. If people want general information or how to, get the smoker running a bit better, or we're approachable, people give us a shout, and if we can help you, we will. So it's not all about sales; it's about just enjoying and passionate about what we do. And we'd just like to thank you as well for the opportunity to come onto your show and give us the airtime that you're giving us, and just let's see if we can make it happen.
I really do wish you all the luck in the world. You've got a fantastic business plan from what you've told me. The items you're making are awesome. Really nice, good quality, almost lifetime esque smokers you're building just through the quality of the materials and the finishes you're giving them. So like the money you're investing in one of these smokers, you're probably only going to have to spend that once, and then you get the added bonus of being able to convert it to a different type of smoker as well, if you like. So brilliant. I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been fantastic talking to you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put all the links into the show notes on YouTube. Also, I'm going to do the same for the podcast. So that'd be across Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other podcast places you find them. Thank you so much for coming on the Barbecue Talk Show. If you want to stick around for Pub Club, please do. Hopefully there'll be people coming in who want to have a chat and ask you about stuff, or just stick around for a little while longer, and then we close it down. So I'm just going to run through the end chat now. So if you're watching, please do like, subscribe, and share. Tell everybody about the podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on all of said podcast platforms. I'm going to run this outro now, and I'll see you on the other side, guys. Thanks for listening to the Barbecue Talk Show podcast. See you again soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you later.